All right, call the meeting to order. Any public comments? Should have done roll call first. All right. Miller. Here. Edick. Here. Greg here. Peters. I'm here. I was confused by that. All right. All right. Now any public comments? None. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes? Make that motion. Support. Motion carries. All right, items of business, police chief report.
All right, so for the month of March, there was 15 reports. 3 of those, of course, were warrant arrests, one being a felony warrant. For an individual who was being looked at for a felonious assault involving a brick. So we're able to snag him.
Are those normally residents or are they just
He was a resident.
resident?
Yeah. Fraud was actually for the Laingsburg Firefighters Association. Their account got hacked again.
Oh.
And then there was also one threat of violence at school, got called at 9:30 at night. Okay to say, had received a tip that one student wanted to kill another middle school student. And so came in and met with the student and the parents and dragged in the school superintendent along with me. And basically the student didn't have any access to any weapons, but seemed like the student was also being bullied and also may have been trying to fit in. And sometimes the words you choose to say may come back to haunt you. So somebody contacted the state and notified us. With it being a nicer month, there was 86 traffic stops.
So can I just ask, so where does that go now that you've investigated or did your meeting? Is it
Yeah, it
over?
wasn't really substantiated that she could follow through with it. So it just stays here as documented. Now, if it's an individual, like we had a couple of years ago that was posting online that he had a gun, that went to the prosecutor's office and they issued a felony warrant on the individual, even though he was underage. So he had to go through probate court and then he was removed from our schools. So now he's doing school online. But it depends on the seriousness of the offense, if they have any access to weapons and what they're broadcasting on and TikTok and other items. So,
Thank you.
yep. And a few more patrol miles, 1346, 86 traffic stops with the warmer weather. 46 tickets were issued, 27 for speed, 18 for expired plates, 1 for equipment defect. 40 traffic warnings, 24 for speed, 12 for expired plates. So common theme of a lot of expired plates out there.
Yeah.
Which is kind of ironic. But
Is that what you pulled them over for, or is that a result of pulling them over?
no, we see that they have expired
Expired
plates,
plates,
so they
okay.
get pulled over for that. And there's no points involved, but there is a fine, and it's usually, I think it's $80 or $85. In fact, one individual knew why I was stopping him. And basically he's playing the system because he has insurance, but he doesn't want to pay his yearly registration fee of $872. So he goes, he's playing the roulette wheel because you can get stopped about 10 times before you make what his yearly registration fee was
How is it that much for a registration for one vehicle?
for one vehicle. They're
I
driving
just
a
got
2010 Mercedes.
Okay.
I just got done paying for all my registrations, $2,800.
But this is, I don't know, that's price, one vehicle, $872.
So based on the value of the vehicle.
Yeah, if you guys might not have much money, I pay like maybe $200-300 for the two of ours, so.
Right. Yeah. So.
Guess so.
Well, you still have power though.
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't?
No,
North side doesn't have.
I have a generator,
Oh, okay,
but I do not have power.
okay.
And there's no sign that we're gonna have it anytime soon. So
Yeah. Yeah. Under the additional information, we have our active shooter training coming up, this month, at the end of the month, and also May for all police, fire, and EMS in Shiawassee County. So I did put together a playbook. Kind of stole this from Tri-County, which was made up of Ingham, Eaton, and Clinton counties, and this basically was put together after the MSU shooting. So I went to one of their trainings on what went good, what went bad. And because you don't want to be on national news as not doing it correctly. So this goes all the way from A to Z, including what happens 2 to 3 months after the event, and up to maybe a year, because then you also have some people that donate money to different organizations, and then how that should take place. There's a lot of what happens when something happens, because then you have a lot of 3-letter agencies such as FBI, ATF, all showing up as well, how to deal with them, politicians. So this is kind of the handbook we put together, our radio frequencies. What happens when all of a sudden you have 150 FBI agents show up for interviewing, because say if we did have a school shooting there, which is good, they can bring in 150 FBI agents to interview people. So that takes a lot of weight off other things that are going on.
is there any training that Greg needs to do or outside of like the binder that we've been given for if that circumstance were to ever happen? Just like, I mean, he is the representative.
Yeah, he'd be the
Like,
the representative mayor, and we would have someone that knows how to be a public information officer assigned to Greg, and they would give him talking points.
so then the same way that like the police don't want to be caught, like not knowing how to respond in those circumstances, like should the city also, like, is there anything that we should be doing to potentially prepare for?
No, we pretty much have it, because we have down where our incident command would be. It's all organized where the politicians, which you guys are, would be stationed somewhere else. Probably at the command area. We also want to make sure that the news media is put someplace and fed and keep out of the way. So the biggest problem, like with the MSU shooting, is they had a lot of people, a lot of officers that self-deployed who weren't requested. And now you've got problems, big problems, especially with communications. Because even like for Ingham, Eaton, and Clinton counties, they have a tri-county channel that they can work off from. However, the police don't have that. Fire and EMS do, but police don't. So we can go to a state channel that all police can operate on, but to get that state channel usually takes like 45 minutes to get up and running. So it's got to go through Homeland Security and all that. So we have that all in place in this booklet here. It explains to dispatch what they have to do, reference to getting helicopters and all that. So with that training, that's what we're going to emphasize on in April and May here, is because the officers may be in charge of what a lieutenant or a captain or a chief may be doing, may be assigned to that. So we want to make sure everybody knows what's happening below them and above them, so that everybody's kind of on the same page. Pardon? Can I go? You can if you want. Yep, I'll give you the dates. So, yep, Thursday, it's on a Thursday and a Saturday.
Okay.
And I'll get you the dates if you want to go. So, typically we start off with a training video. They had one about active shooters. I now have one in regards to for Uvalde and how that was a colossal mess and what not to do.
Yeah.
And versus the Nashville one where they had it down pat and how they were doing their searches and wound up eliminating the problem. So, we'll go through that. So that's coming up. And typically, we have the EMS there because they'll be in charge of casualty collection points. Same with the fire department. The fire departments would be on traffic control points, blocking roads, as well as some of their personnel if we have to bring out victims. So, but a lot of times in our favor, if there's an active shooter, 97.5% of the time it's a single suspect. So, which is good for us. The tornado siren before the beginning of the month, we tested that, it worked fine. It worked fine Sunday. I did hear somebody on West Street couldn't hear the siren. Well, that's probably because the 70-mile-an-hour winds were blowing it that way. So I know that they were able to hear it over by the cemetery.
Yeah, I was actually curious at one point. I'm like, I asked my wife, I'm like, I thought the tornado sirens went off, and then we decided that it must not be.
It was,
But it was going off.
yeah, because I came in here and set that off, so.
No, we heard it.
You heard it.
Yeah.
Okay, it might just be a wind thing then, because right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the wind was blowing it,
But-
so.
Yeah, we did. I thought maybe I heard it, but I wasn't sure. Yeah.
Yeah, depends on which wind direction you're at, so. And countywide, we still don't have it where dispatch can set off the sirens because of the technology. And then there was also a problem about putting a antenna on the tower in Perry. Because the person that is leasing the tower said, yeah, you can put a antenna up there, but it's gonna cost you so much per month. And it was astronomical. So right now it's up to each jurisdiction to set off their own sirens,
When is that set up? Is it when we're in a tornado warning?
tornado warning.
So what is your role during that? I mean, I assume you're hunkered down somewhere, or are you out there?
No, I was driving, so drove in, set that off, and then I went to the fire department to start responding on those calls. And we didn't get hit too bad. We only had 9 calls.
What was the major activity? I mean, I heard a lot of sirens. I don't know if they're ambient.
Yeah,
Or whatever.
there's not only fire because like on Round Lake Road, tree came down, took lines, and those lines on a car that was trapped in under the lines.
Okay.
So we dealt with her, got her out of there. We had
Saw a tanker going north of Lake Victoria.
yeah,
And
that was
trucks and stuff.
also a structure fire got called in on Hollister Road of a barn fire. And it wasn't actually a barn fire. It was somebody that decided to burn some brush behind his barn after the
What?
tornado. So, they sent, and everybody got dispatched because it looked like the barn was on fire.
What about on West Street? Was that, the fire that was there, was it the electrical line?
It was electrical with the
Sparking, or
trees,
was it
yeah.
like the brush burning there?
Well, it's the electrical that caused the tree to catch on fire. So then initially we had 2 brush trucks go to there until somebody from consumers could get on.
Yeah.
And then we had to send that guy, which is actually, he was part of the gas, come over to North Shiawassee because the pine tree that uprooted there ripped open a gas line. And that was free flowing gas. So.
Do we have any oversight over the fire? Do we know how many runs they do, paramedic versus fire, or any of that type of
Yep,
activity?
it should be in your packet, monthly, yearly, and Randy's
W,
board member,
Mhm.
yeah.
OSW monthly,
Okay.
meeting.
Yeah, so there should be one in there so far that's got January and February statistics. I haven't done March's statistics yet. So they get those. I think the ambulance is averaging 60 to 64 calls a month.
Any other police, I guess we should wrap up the police meeting, any other?
Get 8 minutes.
That clock's a little fast.
I'm not gonna pass. Other than that, Still on track to hire another part-time officer here starting in May or June, depending on when he gets done with his FTO training at another regions. So once he's done there, we'll take him on, get him trained up, and then we'll have another part-time officer.
Very good. Thank you, Dan.
Yep.
Greg, let us know what you get from the training, I guess, how that goes. All right. Any other comments?